Hello, Susan Young here. In this video, I will be getting into the roots of compulsive shopping. And this is episode 1. So stay tuned. There are many reasons why people turn to compulsive shopping. However, when shopaholics and support groups begin to discuss their childhood experiences, they find they share many common problems from their early years. As I share the life of one case, which is the life of Jamie, you may recognize feelings and experiences from your past. This will give you insight about the roots of your spending addiction and help you realize that you're not alone. Now, this is a case study of a doting father and a withholding mother. Jamie grew up in a working-class family in Cleveland. Her father was a hard-working foreman in a factory that manufactured machine parts. Her mother came from a solidly upper middle class, better education family than his. Her parents married soon after high school, and her father started working. However, his wife expected that he would someday go to college and make something of himself. Then a baby arrived unexpectedly, and another, and he never got a chance to go back to school. In fact, it was so hard to keep up with the cost of raising children that Jamie's mother had to go to work part-time as a school secretary. Jamie, the youngest of 4, was conceived when her mother was 44 years old. Her mother didn't want any more children, but her husband did. Neither of them believed in abortion, so Jamie was born. Somehow, I always knew I had been an accident, said Jamie. Her mother did her duty with Jamie, but joyously. She'd take me to skating lessons, but she would never watch me like the other mothers did. She'd just sit there and read and take me home, which kind of ruined all the fun. When my father came, though, he'd watch and wave and blow kisses at me. Then after the lesson, he'd come out on the ice and skate with me. He'd spin me around and pick me up if I fell. It was a grand occasion. Her father was a simple, down-to-earth man who loved her unabashedly. He laughed when Jamie did something naughty and got angry when his wife punished her. He showered Jamie with compliments and with kisses. Her mother frowned on this behavior, saying, "You're spoiling her to death." He also brought her lavish, sometimes inappropriate presents, which made her mother resentful because of their limited income. I'll never forget when I was 10. I wanted a Barbie's dream house for my birthday. My mother told me it was too expensive and I needed clothes instead. So she bought me some dresses I hated. My father went ahead and bought me the dream house, but it turned out to be a nightmare. My mother started yelling at my father, pouring out all this bitterness she felt about having to work because he didn't make enough money, and saying he wasted money on me. My birthday was ruined. I couldn't even enjoy the dollhouse after that. I felt so guilty. As an adult, she would recreate this misery by buying things she didn't need and then feeling guilty afterwards. The conflicting messages her parents gave her were very confusing. Her father made her feel like a pampered princess, while her mother's attitude was that she didn't deserve anything, not even a hug. These wonderful feelings of entitlement and worthlessness followed her into adulthood. When she felt bad, she also felt she deserved something and headed to the shops. Later came the letdown. The mother-child bonding in early childhood that is imperative for healthy development was absent from Jamie's formative years. Her mother was not a healthy model of nurturance, so Jamie was not able to internalize and identify with the good mother. Deprived of her mother's nurturing led to her particular form of shopping addiction, buying multiple of items for her bedroom and her kitchen. By the time Jamie was a teenager, she was the only child left at home. Her mother pressured her to do well in school. You better get good grades so you could go to college and make something of your life, she'd say, implying that Jamie's father was a failure because he hadn't. Jamie became a perfectionist because of this pressure, a trait that stayed with her. Later, when her idolized self failed her, she headed to the store. Jamie's father had an easier time with his daughter's emerging sexuality than her mother did. Her mother would try to stop her from wearing the mini skirts that were in style, but her father would shrug and say, all the gals are wearing those. He'd say she sure looked pretty when she came downstairs to go out on a date, while her mother would say, he's going to think you're easy if you wear that. Worst of all, her mother would look on disapprovingly when her father hugged and kissed her, begrudgingly the demonstrations of affection that made her uncomfortable. This pointed up another confusing aspect of Jamie's youth, the triangular relationship between her mother, father, and her. Whenever Jamie's mother observed the closeness between Jamie and her father, she would become unconsciously jealous. She would give subtle hints of dissatisfaction by interrupting their conversation at important points. She tried to sabotage the relationship in many different ways because she interpreted it as threatening. This made Jamie uncomfortable and confused, putting her into a no-win situation with her parents. If she was close to her father, she alienated her mother and felt guilty. If she wasn't, she felt the loss of the relationship she treasured. She did remain close to her father, but the triangular situation haunted her into adulthood. She had attendant feelings of repressed rage towards her mother and overall the confusion. Her emotional legacy was a sense of entitlement from her father and a sense of deprivation from her mother. With her first paycheck, she became a compulsive shopper. Jamie graduated from college with a degree in computer science and went to work in a large company. She didn't enjoy her job because her perfectionism caused her to be so critical that normal pressures of her job were overwhelming. When she was 25, Jamie married a man who was successful and accomplished. She became pregnant within months and happily quit her job. However, even after 2 children and 6 years of marriage, Jamie and Don were not true partners. She expected more than Don could deliver because he could never give her as much as her father did. Also, she identified enough with her mom to have become undemonstrative. Jamie had not internalized the warmth of mother love. Therefore, her marriage lacked the intimacy that she desperately needed but couldn't give or receive. Not knowing how to deal with this lack of intimacy, her shopping binges increased. Now, Jamie's husband was not fully aware of the ramifications of her compulsive shopping until they had children and she stopped working. As time went by, Jamie's spending habits caused him to lose trust and faith in her, and fights ensued. Despite their rocky relationship, Jamie was stunned when her husband left. She needed to work to support them, and she had no outlet for her pain except for shopping. If you have a shopping addiction and you need advice on your finances, here's what I would suggest. Go to YouTube channel Zero Debt Coach. Brad Long can direct you with your finances. Brad and I will be working together to help you to be successful. When you go to his channel, tell him Stop Big Spending or Susan Young sent you there. Question of the day. Have you ever looked into the roots of your shopping addiction? Feel free to share below. And how are you doing with this video so far? If you like this video, hit the like button below. And don't forget to subscribe. I really appreciate that if you did. We're going to be having more videos in this series. This is the first one of the series about the roots of compulsive shopping. Check out my website at www.stopbigspending.com and leave me your email address at the Contact Us page on the website, and I will inform you on our next videos coming up. And be looking for our next video in this series, The Roots of Compulsive Shopping. See you next week here on YouTube and see you in social media. You have a great week.